show is 4. Shall we start the program? Yes. So, good evening, everyone. Myself, Namita, Butterfly Park Assistant, Indira Gandhi Zoological Park. A warm welcome to the speaker and participants joined in the webinar session as part of Big Butterfly Month 2022. We are going to have a webinar on planning and management of butterfly gardens by our speaker, Sri Haneesh K.M. We welcome our speaker, Mr. Haneesh K.M. So, a brief introduction note about our speaker. Basically, he is from Kerala, working as an assistant professor in electrical engineering department at Christ University, Bangalore, Kangeri campus. He likes to watch nature and actively participates in recording biodiversity in the region. He is one of the founder member of Bangalore Butterfly Club, the group which systematically records the butterfly diversity in Bangalore during the last 8 years. He is also instrumental in connecting academic community with the public through various citizen science platforms and social media platforms. The talk covers planning and management of butterfly gardens. Over to you, sir. Please begin the topic.
Thank you. Okay, so is the screen is visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, so thank you for the nice introduction. Okay. So today I'll be talking on the planning and management of butterfly parks or butterfly gardens. Okay, so actually we are celebrating the big butterfly month in India. So we have started the last year. So this year in September we are continuing this work. So as a part of that, the Indira Gandhi Zoological Park, Visakhapatnam, is organizing this particular webinar. Okay. So this particular topic is actually interesting because the if you are seeing the plants and the insects or plants and the pollinating animals, so they evolve together. Okay, so you cannot the distinguish the insects from the plants or plants from the insects. So they are mutually benefiting, okay, and it's creating a better ecosystem when they are interacting each other. So that is the background in which we are delivering today's talk. So I'll be talking on some of the basic idea on the host and nectar plants, okay, some of the early stages of butterfly, and some the basics of butterfly gardens, okay, how you'll be preparing the in the land for the butterfly gardens, how will be the mean selecting the plants, hosts and nectar plants, okay, and some basic principles which you need to remember when you are looking for some or planning some butterfly gardens. Okay. So the butterflies are very mean the small insects. Okay. So they are considered as the ecology or the biological indicators because the if you observe the number of butterflies in a region, if the number is more, you can say that that area is biodiversically more rich. Okay. So similarly, they have the shorter lifespan. So when the number of butterflies in a particular area is coming down, that is an indication that that habitat is not doing well, or there's some issue with that particular habitat. Yeah. So the observing butterflies or studying butterflies are important, okay, especially they are having a good relation with the plants around or the vegetation around. Okay. So for the survival of the butterfly, there are two kinds of plants are required. So we'll be calling it as nest and hostel plants. Okay. So the host plant is the plant on which the butterflies lay egg and their caterpillar grows by feeding the leaves or the shoots of that particular plant. So that is what is known as the host plant. And nectar plant is the plants where the adult butterfly feeds, especially from the flowers or the fruits of that particular plant. So that is known as the nectar plant. So the survival of the butterflies are mainly depending on these two kinds of plants, the host and nectar plants. So, the if you are seeing the life cycle of a butterfly, they are starting from the end. It is the best example for the metamorphosis. Okay. Usually, the butterflies will lay egg, okay, and that will be turned into a caterpillar, and which will be once grown, it will be forming a pupa, and the adult will be emerged. So that is a life cycle. So the how the butterflies are identifying their host plant. So each butterfly species has got a particular host plant or a particular set of host plants. So they may not be laying egg on all the plants. So they have certain the host plants. Okay. So how they are identifying these host plants are they'll be smelling the chemicals from that plant. Okay. So they'll use that their the food also for smelling that the particular plant. So usually they'll be sensing this chemical and identifying the particular species of plant, and then female will be laying egg on that particular plant. So sometimes the butterflies, some butterflies will be laying single eggs. Some of them may be laying a batch of eggs. So there are different kinds of butterflies. So depending on the butterfly species, they'll be using it. Yeah. And some butterflies will be laying egg on a set of plants, a number of species of plants. Okay. So here you can see one the is a Indian common mormon, which is a very common butterfly which you can see throughout India, and in every garden you can see it. Okay. So they are basically breeding on the plants from the citrus family, the Ruptaceae family. Okay. So starting from your this bale or lemon or the Sandosylum. So different plants they have. So most of the citrus plants they are utilizing to grow their young ones. So all these are the host plants of this particular butterfly. So, but at the same time, this is actually it's a, known as the Malabar banded peacock, the Papilio Buddha. Is a now the state butterfly of Kerala. It is known to breed only on one particular plant. Okay. So some species will maybe using different host plants, whereas some species may be using only one host plant. Okay. So as I mentioned, once the butterfly identified its host plant, they'll be laying egg on it. Okay. So the eggs are of different shapes, different size. Okay. So usually they are very small. So usually the size is 1 to 3 centimeter as a millimeter size, and the shapes of the butterfly egg actually it depends on the which family that butterfly belongs to, or the from the shape of the egg, we can actually guess the family of that butterfly. So some butterflies will be laying eggs as single egg, okay, whereas some of them will be laying as a big batch of 100 or more than 100, and some of them will be laying as a small batch of 2 or 3 eggs. So I mean it depends on the butterfly species, so that may be changed. Okay, some of them butterflies may be laying egg on the leaf. Okay, some of them on the flower buds. Okay, and but some of them even on some fruits. Okay, so this actually is a common Goa blue egg on a pomegranate. So which is known as a common pest in the pomegranate gardens. Okay, so that uses the fruit rather than the leaves. Okay, once the egg is laid after 3 or 4 days, depending on the size of the egg or the depending on the butterfly species. Okay. The caterpillar will be emerging out from this egg, okay. And usually the first meal of the caterpillar is it's the eggshell itself. You can see this the I mean, a caterpillar of a giant rattai, the Gagarathyrus, which is just emerging out from its egg. And you can see that the first thing it does is it is eating its eggshell. So, which is nutritious Also, if that eggshell is laying there, it may be attracting other predators. So that is the first meal of any butterfly caterpillar. And the feeding behavior of the emerged caterpillar also different. Some of them may be eating the full leaf, some of them may be eating flowers, some of them may be eating the fruit part. Okay. So here you can see that there are different the feeding behavior of the caterpillar. So it depends on the family and the species preference. And once the cat in the caterpillar stage, so it will keep on feeding the leaves or the flower, but whatever the depending on the species. But I mean, it will be keep growing. So as it feeds on, it will keep growing. So when it is growing, so it has to shed its old skin and you just to go into new appearance. So we'll call it as molting, and it will be going through different stages, which is known as the instars. Actually, this every butterfly caterpillar goes through 5 instars, okay, 5 different stages. So from one instar to another instar, it will shed its old skin and it will be going into the new appearance. So here you can see this Indian blue mormon, which is a state butterfly of Maharashtra. So it's early stages of that caterpillar. It may be looking different, but all are the same caterpillar, but it is in different stages. So I told every butterfly caterpillar will be going through these 5 different stages. So once these 5 stages are completed, they'll be going for pupation. So pupation also, depending on the species and depending on the family, the how they make the pupa is may be varying. So this is how a papillon, the swallowtail butterflies will be making its pupa. So once the caterpillar is matured, they'll be hanging from one place and they'll make a silk thread around its the body and it will be making a beautiful pupa. So this making the caterpillar to pupa, it may take a few hours. Okay. So sometimes it may take 1 or 2 days depending on the size of the caterpillar or the species. Okay. So then after that, after the weight, there will be emerging into adults. Yeah. So the usually the 4 or 5 days to 2 or 3 weeks it may take to the come out of the pupa. And once the adult is come out of from the pupa, so they are free to fly. So and they'll be flying and they need lot of energy for flying. So they'll be looking for some energy. So usually they'll be looking for some energy drink. So usually we'll be seeing them and they are feeding from different flowers. Okay. So these plants we are calling it as nectar plants or the plants from where the butterflies feed for energy, that is known as the nectar plants. But when the butterflies are feeding from these plants, okay, they are helping the plants in turn in pollination. So in the pollination stage, so the pollen grains has to pass into stigma. So usually these insects and butterflies will be helping the flowers in pollination, so that the plants will be getting help in making more number of offspring or more number of the seeds, fruitful seeds. So that is how the butterflies are helping them in pollination. And you can see that the proboscis, the straw of this butterfly, that is of different shape, different sizes. Okay. So based on that, the types of flowers or types of plant they prefer for nectaring also changes. So you can see here there's a big skipper having a very long proboscis, okay, which is suitable for sipping from the long tube flowers. So and some of the some of the butterflies having very small proboscis, they'll be looking for smaller flowers for nectar. So species wise, they'll be helping certain kind of plants and which will be helping them pollination of that one. So you can see that this small butterfly is feeding from a very small flower, okay, and some of them may be feeding from very big flower. Okay, so this is the background. So butterflies needs plants for their survival. So not one or two plants, they want a lot of plants. Okay. So if it is a good the vegetative area, so the butterflies, more butterflies can survive better. So that is how we are taking it as a biological the indicators of or biodiversity indicators of that particular area. Okay. Now, the regarding the butterfly garden. Okay. So the in your surroundings there are many plants. Okay. Some of them may be supporting the butterflies for the as a host plant. Some of them may be supporting as a nectar plant. Okay. But in naturally they are available. But now the issue is that the some places we have a lot of habitat, the destruction is happening. Okay. And a lot of areas are getting urbanized very fast. So the vegetation in the areas are getting down, and some of the butterfly species are the endangered or their habitat is coming down very slowly. They need some conservation. In this aspect, so the butterfly garden is a way to create, improve, and maintain the habitat for these particular butterflies. Okay. So usually these butterfly gardens, if you are preparing, so it can support the population of the local butterflies in the area. And and this, if you are properly maintaining it, more and more butterflies will be coming into that area, and it will be I mean, good thing to watch. And for butterflies also is a good the news, as they'll be getting the host plants and nectar plants in their the habitat itself. Yeah. So actually, the butterflies gardens, is a beautiful thing if we can watch butterflies in a particular area. So they are flying around, they are colorful, so they are very delicate. So it is actually a recreational activity, and it will help them to conserve the habitat. So, I mean, in one area, certain kind of butterflies are, and the numbers are coming down. You can support them through some butterfly gardens. So you can keep the host and nectar plant targeting that particular species. So you can improve the population of that butterflies in that area. So it's a helping in conservation of habitat, and it will improve the pollination in that area. So the studies are showing that this the if the more number of butterflies in the area, they may not be just feeding in the garden itself. They'll be going around and they'll be supporting the plants and in that particular area. And it will help in conservation of butterflies. Okay, not only butterflies, if you are maintaining a good garden, so it will be helping the plants and the other insects also, because the butterflies are a major element in the food web. Okay. So if the population of the butterflies are improving, it will be improving the health of the entire the food chain in that area. And also it will improve the soil quality. Okay, because we are not going to use any pesticides in the butterfly garden. And also the better pollination is happening, more seeds will be coming, more the plants, the saplings will be coming. So it's I mean, overall it will be improving the soil quality, and also the the diversity in that area. And also these gardens are very helpful in the creating awareness and to educating the, especially the school kids and the communities in general. So you can educate by using the all the worms which we are seeing in the garden. So now you have seen the butterfly gardens are overall beneficial, but the how will be making the butterfly garden? Okay. So what should be the size of the butterfly garden? So it's very simple, very simple. You can even start with one pot of plants. Okay. So if you are in a metro city, or you are living in a flat, you don't have any land. Okay. Still you can have some butterfly garden. Okay. So So you can have keep few plants in your pots, okay, so which will be attracting the butterfly. So even in the higher floors of the multi-storied building, in even in the 13th floor or 20th floor, butterflies are coming. So actually they are using that plant. So we have so many reports from our friends. They are saying that in the 13th floor of their the 13th floor of their flat, they are getting some 15 species of butterflies. Some of them are breeding there. So it is very easy to start. You can have a very small area. You can start with a very small area. Then you introduce some host and natural plants. Okay. So and if the space is available, you can have the large area. Okay, so especially if you are having an open garden, then it will be more suitable for the butterfly garden. And you can it can be developed by individuals. Okay, so or you can have a family garden outside your home, or can be by the institutions, organizations, or government bodies. Okay. So anybody can make the butterfly garden of, it can be of different size, different size, the different habitat, and depending on your the land availability, the budget availability, and all, you can plan your butterfly garden accordingly. Okay. So how will be identifying the land? I told you you may not require the land at all for the butterfly the gardening. So, but it is better to have some open land than the some confined place. So it is better to use some the land which may not be used for anything, any other fruitful activities, something like the landfill sites. Okay. So the landfill sites you may not be easily converted into some the which is cultivatable land, or the some the for some good the construction or something. So such the sites you can use for this the developing some butterfly garden. And land invaded by the invasive plants. Okay, so you know the some open lands or some areas, okay, so are invaded by the plants which are invasive plants. Okay, such areas you can utilize for the creating butterfly garden. And the lake fronts, okay, so that is a one good area. So you'll be having sufficient quantity of water, and it will be used for other recreational activities. Okay. And some degraded habitat where you can rejuvenate that degraded activate. And the fragmented habitat, suppose the one big area is fragmented into smaller area, so the species diversity or the population where it can support will be reduced once it is the habitat it is fragmented. So actually these butterfly gardens can support as a connection between the fragmented land, so that the more species will be getting survived there. So that is, these are the lands are better used, better suitable for the butterfly gardens than a good land you are converting into, or a cultivatable land you are converting into a butterfly garden. So this will be giving better benefits than the using a very good land. Okay. So the land preparation. Okay. So land preparation, basically the our idea is simple. You need to introduce some host and some nectar plants. So use the identify the suitable land. Only minimum modification of the land is required. So the natural land you need not use the lot of construction activities. You need not build big the walls, or you need not build the big construction. So you can have minimal modification. So you can start with minimal modification, because we are not only the looking for butterflies, we are looking for the overall biodiversity in the area. Also we are taking care of the soil. Okay. So only the sustainable methods to be used for the preparation of land. So I mean, you need not cut down the entire trees or entire plants in the area to make a butterfly garden. So you can utilize this particular land, okay, with minimum modification. Okay. And don't remove the all the weeds or the all the other trees or plants from that area. because we are just trying to develop that area. I mean, the is as a more biodiverse area. Okay. And the avoid using the pesticides. Okay. Go for the sustainable use of fertilizers. Okay. We are not saying you should not use fertilizer at all, but sometimes it will be required. But wherever possible, go for the smaller quantities, and also go for only sustainable use. Okay. So we are not against completely against the fertilizer, but the you can use fertilizer, but use it in the sustainable manner. Now, once the land is prepared, so you need to introduce some plants. Okay. So what type of plants you will be introducing? So you need some host plant and you need some nectar plants. Okay. But you can see that if you are just searching over the net, or if you are asking somebody, so which are the plants? So they'll be telling a lot of plants, which may be, some of them may be exotic plants, or the plants available in the nearest nursery, maybe some of them may be the plants imported from some other countries. So it is always better to use the plants which is available indigenously, or which are available in that local area. So why this is important is, okay, so survival of such plants are easier, or the maintenance of such plants are easier. So you need not do much care, take much care about that one. And also the plants which are available locally, that may be supporting more number of species. So the that way it will be double benefit. So the local plants can support the better ecosystem, more number of species, so that the it is always suggested to use the I mean, locally available plants. Okay, so which are the growing easily in that area. So you need not take much care on the maintaining it, you need not take much care on the growing it. Okay, so which are, I mean, the available in that particular area. So you need to first look where you are making this particular garden. Suppose you are making in your city or village. Okay, so you need to have an idea about what are the species of the butterflies available in that area. So that you can select the plants according to the butterfly species available in that area. Suppose you are in a western Ghat area or eastern Ghat area, so you can see that which are the butterflies available in that area, which are the plants they are looking for, and which are the nectar plants they usually use. Okay. If you are getting that information, so it is more easier. So you can attract more number of butterflies, more species of butterflies. So that way it will be helping the butterfly. So you can see that some of the very common flowers. Okay. So the but the these are the very common flowers which you can see in the in the open lands. Okay, so you can just have a survey around, so you can see which are the plants are used by the butterflies for nectaring. Okay, so you introduce that plants in your garden, so that they'll be easily coming to your garden, and they may be breeding on your garden. So, and one or two things which we need to be careful is, okay, some of the plants are invasive, something like this Lantana camara, so the Lantana flower. So even though they are easily attracting butterflies, okay, so but they are very invasive. So that may, if you are not controlling it, they may be spreading very fast. Okay. So, and another one is this spagnetic flora trilobata, that is the creeping daisy, so that with the yellow flower, and Mecania, the vine, and this chromolinia, the siam weed. Okay, and the prosopis juliflora. So all this may be supporting the butterflies, but the problem is some of them may be going beyond control, so they may be spreading very fast in that area, and they may be reducing the quality of that land in that area. So when you are going for the plants, you be careful. You check whether these will be whether these are the invasive plants. Yeah, you can see that the lantana. This is actually this is a good nectar plant, but you can see them. They are very invasive. They'll be spreading very fast. But now there are some garden varieties of this particular plant is available, so which will not be growing or spreading very fast. Okay, so this is what the trailing daisy. So it's also invasive plant, but it may also attract many butterflies. Okay, so if you are having such plants in the garden, so you need to be careful. So you need to control their growth. So you should ensure that they are growing, not growing beyond the boundaries set by you. Now, the once you set up the garden, so you can you can watch the butterflies coming. Them butterflies are breeding them. Okay, and you need to have some maintenance. Okay, so if you select the indigenous plants, so which are growing locally, so it is easier to they maintain the garden. So they may not be requiring not much watering even during the summer. So and you need not replant them. Sometimes naturally they may be growing from their seeds. Okay. So that benefits are there if you are going for the indigenous plants. And they control the pests using the natural methods. Okay, so since it is a garden, okay, so and we are trying to improve the biodiversity, there can be pests. Okay, there can be aphids, there can be other caterpillars, there can be birds feeding on it. Okay, so you should only use the natural methods to control them. Some pests you may have to control sometimes. Okay, but do not use any chemicals or the any pesticides. Okay, and the rules are very simple. So if you are how you are managing your regular garden, so same way we will be managing the butterfly gardens also. But the only difference is that the plants which are suitable for the butterflies you prefer. Okay, also prepare for the season. Okay, so suppose you are the some plants are having seeds, you collect it, you can the make the saplings for the next season. And they make your own nursery. Okay, so you can make the saplings from your available plants. You cut it and make it as the plants, the saplings, so that it will be reducing a lot of burden of buying the new plants or introducing new plants, or you can exchange for some new plants. Okay, so try to develop on nurseries. Even at the smaller scale. Okay, and regularly monitor it if any. That is a very basic principle of gardening. So you they identify the plants, how they are growing and how well they are going. So you regularly monitor them. Okay. So these are the some examples from some of our friends. So this actually is in from Mumbai. So the one of our friends, he is developing a small butterfly garden in his the courtyard. So you can see that it's a very small area. He had kept few plants, few creepers and all. Okay, but he's getting good number of butterflies. More than 100 species of the butterflies are visiting that area, and he's regularly recording the early stages caterpillar pupa in this garden. So it's a good the recreational activities, and you can use them to teach others, especially the kids. Okay, so that how they'll be interested in all these things. Okay, so and I told, okay, you can have very small garden, like, so if you are having few pots. Okay, you can develop a very small garden. You would have seen that if you are planting some curry leaf or lemon plant, the caterpillars will be easily located on that one. So, and you put some nectar plants and some the very common the house plants like the curry leaf or citrus plants. Okay. So they'll be easily coming into your garden, even if it is you're in the 10th floor or 15th floor. So that doesn't matter. Butterflies will fly and come there. Okay. And in India now we have some bigger butterfly gardens. Actually, some of the private gardens we have. They actually the Samilan Shetty in the Bangalore Butterfly. He is having a very good butterfly garden. So it started around 10 years back. So it's in a good area near to the Western Ghat, and is having around 200 species of butterflies coming in his garden. So similarly in the Goa, there is a conservatory in Mumbai. So a lot of people are getting interested in they are making the butterfly habitat, and they are supporting the area. Okay. And in India, actually, we don't have the license for the closed area parks, but the governments running some closed area park. This is actually a butterfly garden in the butterfly park in Bangalore, so near the Bannerghatta National Park. So it's in a closed area, so they are breeding the butterflies inside, and they sending into that the closed area, and it is attracting lot of visitors, and they are using it for the create awareness about the public on butterfly. Okay. And you can see that if you want, if you are having a bigger area and means suppose you want to develop a big butterfly garden in your college or in your company organization. So there are some the private firms are also helping it. Actually, this Ladybird Environmental Consulting. So they are they are a consultant in this area in India, especially is under the Dr. Subbalashmi. So they are developing a lot of butterfly gardens around across India. Okay. So now, which are the plants you have to introduce in your garden? So I'll just quickly show some of the plants. Okay. But the rule I told very simple. So you observe the butterflies in your area. So which are the plants they are preferring? You introduce that plants. You need not search over the net and you need to find it. Instead, you go for the local ones. So which is more beneficial. So some of the plants which I put this oxalis, okay, and this ternera, and this plumbago, and this the firecracker plant, this the Amelia patens, this ixora. So all these are the very good the nectar plants. They will attract the butterflies easily. Okay. And these are some more. So this pendas and the Duranda and this Lia indica and the Muraya or Vindex. So these are some of the very common plants which you can introduce in your garden. So they are as a ornamental plants, so they are attractive. Also, they'll be having the benefit of attracting butterflies. And some of the host plants, very common host plants, okay, you are seeing that the curry leaf and lemon plants. So wherever you put, you can see some caterpillar coming very quickly. Okay. And the crown flower, that the giant milkweed, okay, and tropical milkweed, that and then oleander, the flower oleander, medium oleander. So that will be supporting the cross, some milkweed butterflies. Okay. The cassia fistula, the golden shower. So which is a good plant. It is attracting many species. Okay. So this Kalancha pinnata, that is actually the air plant that succulent like the flower leaf. Okay. So that is attracting this red pirate butterfly. So these are some of the very common host plants. Okay. So you see which are the plants on which the caterpillars are usually coming. You introduce them into the garden. Okay. So I'll just quickly show some of the pictures so that you'll be getting some idea. So the amaranthus, the plant, so that is supporting the dark grass blue, the lesser grass blue and all. The mango is a good plant, so you can see them barren butterflies on it. The onyx, okay. So this the musk tree, that is the Polyalthia longifolium. So Ashoka tree, and this your Sitafal. Okay. So they are supporting this the Graphium butterflies, tail jay, common jay, and all. Okay. And these are the milkweeds. Okay. So these Asclepias curassavica. So that's a very common garden flower, and this is a crown flower, that the milkweed. Okay. So the plain tiger butterfly caterpillars will be easily coming on it. Okay. And actually, these blue tigers are breeding on some of the creepers like the watakaka or cosmos tigger. So if you are searching in your area, so you may be finding some of them, or you can get the help of some of the experts to identify that plant. Okay. So this is Hemidespus. Okay. So the common cross butterflies are breeding it. Okay. So the Nerium oleander plant. Okay. This is a Watakaka plant. Okay. And some of them are breeding on the palms. Okay. So different ornamental palm, the coconut palm, especially the skipper butterflies. They are easily breeding on the various palms. Okay. And this is actually especially for the drier areas. So most suitable one is the Aristolochia indica. So that is having the it can attract many butterflies like the common rose, crimson rose. Okay. If you are in the Western Ghats area, you will be easily getting the southern birdwing, the bigger butterfly. Okay. And some of them Capparis species. Okay. And this is a actually the Cleum species. Okay. And you can see this is what is told the red piro. So they are breeding on this the air plant or this Kalanja pinnata plant. And also you have seen this one, some this type of cycus plants in your garden is completely eaten by some caterpillar. So actually these plain stupid caterpillars are the responsible for that. Usually they are notorious for eating and finishing the entire bunch of the cycus plants. Okay. So and these butterflies, in their flats, they'll be breeding on these Dioscorea plants. Okay. And this is known as the castor butterflies because they are breeding on these castor plants, okay, which are easily coming other. Okay. So this is that Gulgunchi, that the Abrus precaritarius. Okay. So the few butterflies are breeding on it. Okay. This is Cassia fistula. Cassia fistula, there are few butterflies breeding on it. The immigrants, grass yellows, red spot, all that thing. Okay. So similarly, the Crotalaria plants, the Albizia plants. Okay. And these are some of the weeds, okay, which are easily growing on the open land. So this is a Senatora. So you can see that these small grass yellow butterflies are flying around it. Okay. And this is another Cassia auriculata. The lemon immigrants is breeding on it. Okay. And actually, the cinnamon is a good the host plant. Okay. You can use it as the for your culinary needs. Also, it is medicinal, and also it will support the butterflies. So that way, it is a multi-purpose plant, the cinnamon. Okay. And this actually this parasite plant which will be growing on the other plants, the Dendroptera species. So the actually the common disciple is breeding on that parasite plant. Okay. And this the Miletia pinnata or Pongamia pinnata. So this is a very common shade tree which we are using in the most of the places. Okay. And it is giving very good shade. It's well suited for the urban environment and all. But you can see that many butterflies breeding on it, like the common cerulean, dark cerulean, the forget-me-nots, the sunbeam orient, and the common banded owl. So many species of butterflies are breeding on it. Okay. So you can have some plants of this one in your garden. Okay. Similarly, the ficus plants. Okay. So ficus racemosa, the crow butterflies are breeding on it. Sida species. Okay. So some of the skippers, like the Indian skippers, are breeding on this one. Okay. Even these banana plants, you can see that this recent attack of this the banana skippers on this one. So actually in South India, it reported only in 2012-13. Okay. So, but still you can see that many of the banana trees are attacked by this particular caterpillar. And this oxalis species. Okay. So and bamboo and the rice, etc. So that are the good host plant for many of the skipper butterflies. Okay. You can see that some skipper butterfly, and this is the passion fruit. Okay. So the passion flower, is a wild passion. So the tony coaster butterflies are breeding on it. Okay. And this the plumbaga, you have seen that in the using it as a heads plant. The zebra blue actually breeding on it. Okay. And these are some of the plants. Okay. So actually the great flies will be breeding on this portulaca. Okay. And this is the big skippers like the conjoint, they are breeding on this broadleaf the grasses. Okay. And these are the Sisyphus plants. They are in the actually the common pierrots, the striped pierrot, etc., are breeding on this the Sisyphus plants. Okay. So this is your the curry leaf, Moraya coenji. Okay. So the lime butterfly, common mormon, etc., breeding on it. Okay. Similarly, on the lemon plant. Okay. So you can see that the blue mormon, common mormon, and lime blues are breeding on that. Okay. This is Musanda and the commander butterfly. Okay. And some of them are breeding on the fruit cycles. So one example is this cornelian. So they'll be breeding on some of the fruits of the soap nut tree and all. Okay. So these are the I just shown some pictures. Okay. So this is actually the uh, turmeric plant or ginger plant or that the Zingiberacea family. So this actually the grass demons will be coming. So if you keep some the turmeric plant at home, so they'll be easily coming. Okay. And other than this host and nectar plants, okay, so sometimes you have seen that many of these butterflies are coming together on certain plants. Okay. So actually they are not coming for nectar, instead they are coming for the certain chemicals from that, especially during these the migration season, this the Danide group butterflies, the tigers and crows, they'll be looking for certain chemicals from this kind of plants. Okay, so two of such plants are this Crotalaria retusa. Okay, so that is the rattlepod, the plant, and this is a Heliotropium indicum. So such plants are their sap is a good source of the alkaloid. So actually, especially the male butterflies are looking for that alkaloid. So which will help them to produce better the pheromones to attract better females, so that their pair is high. So that is why they rushing onto this particular plant. So especially in the migration season, if you are planting this in your garden, you can attract many of these butterflies there. Okay. So I told the basic principle of butterfly garden is very simple. Okay, I just put it as few points. Okay, so identify the butterflies in the area. Okay, so provide regional nectar and host plants. Okay, so go for the local ones, so which are more sustainable. Okay, so the minimum modification of the land and landscape. Okay, don't go for the earth movers and big cutting of trees. Okay, so you do only minimum modification. Use only sustainable method of pest fertilizers and pest control. Maintain the garden using usual gardening principles. Okay. So if you are they are outgrowing, you control it. If you are some are not growing, so you support them. So that's a regular monitoring and you will control. Okay. So make a nursery for prepare for the days to come. Okay. So keep a nursery, so which will be helping you to engage yourself, and also it will be helping you in the long way. Okay. And the document the butterflies and other life forms in the garden. So that is actually the real joy of it. Okay. So you can see them, many of them are coming there, many of them are breeding. So you document them. I mean, if you can, if you are having a bigger garden and if you are having proper mechanism, so you can document it um, more meticulously, so that you'll be getting better data on that one, so which will be suitable for others to follow your path. Okay, so and use this garden for awareness. Okay, to teach your neighbors, to you teach your family members, to teach youngsters and to teach kids. Okay, so it is actually a real the laboratory, so that you can use this garden for the uh, awareness, spread awareness about. Okay, so these are the some of the additions you can try. So the actually I was usually telling that some insect house. Okay, so in addition in the garden, the not only butterflies coming, you will be getting a lot of other insect. Okay, you can keep some logs or some holes the so they will easily come and settle there. Okay. So these are the some of the examples you are seeing, so that you can watch them also. Not only butterflies, you can watch the other insects. Okay. So this is another examples. It came from the West Bengal last year. So they maintained a dragonfly ponds. Okay. It is another version of butterfly habitat. Okay. So they are used for the dragonfly. Okay. So they are breeding on the ponds. Okay. So there are different examples, and actually in Kerala there is another project they proposed. Actually, the Kerala Butterfly Corridor project. Okay. Actually, in the US, to protect uh, the migration of these particular monarch butterflies. Okay. So they are taking through a particular path from Alaska to Mexico. So in that particular path, they are putting more plants which are suitable for breeding the monarch. So that project they are calling it is Monarch Highway. So similarly in Kerala, they have suggested a particular paths, okay, especially for the state butterfly of Kerala. So they are proposing some 13 butterflies, okay, so including Paris peacock, Malabar peacock, so which are the bigger butterflies, which but need some conservation. And for all these 13 butterflies, you can put some 6 house plants in the throughout the state. Then you can have better population of them because some of them are threatened, okay. Some of them the habitat is reducing, so that this project will be something similar to your the monarch highway project, so that throughout the state if they are preparing some garden, some planting, so it will be helping the healthy habitat. So these are the some plans the Kerala proposed, okay. So it's a ongoing project, okay. So which can which will be improving the entire the butterfly diversity in that area. Okay. So I am the closing with that one. So these are my reference. Okay. So the larval host plants of the butterflies of Western Ghats by Nitin. So that is the book for and that's a research paper for the most of the host plants. Okay. And some of the pictures I taken from this iPhoneButterflies.org. Okay. And regarding that Monarch Highway project, that's it. Okay. So now it's open for the discussion. Okay. So these are some of my supporters. Okay. So it's open for questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the informative words, sir. So now we'll begin with the questionnaire session. Here are few of the questions asked by our visitors, our viewers. Uh, so, sir, what are the major gardening principles to be applied for a closed park?
Okay, so the closed park actually needs the special permission from the government because you are not the sending the butterflies outside. Okay, so that is not supporting the habitat in a bigger way. So you need special licenses for that one. Okay. So the that gardening principles is you go for certain species may not be suitable for all the species. You especially target certain species and you plant the plants, the host and nectar plants for that one, and they cannot go outside. So you need not you need to control the moisture. You need to control the temperature inside this butterfly garden. So such mechanism should be there. Okay. So these are the issue with the rose garden. So rose gardens are not actually suggested, but you can the if you are having proper license, you can run.
So, moving on to the next question. Does the butterflies prefer their flowers or the corolla shape or the size? So, different butterflies attract to different flowers. Is it so? Does it affect any color or the size or variation of the flowers?
Yeah, so basically, I told it depends on the species specification. Okay, so the size of the proboscis is the one criteria, and which should be matching the tube of the flower. So that is one criteria generally used. Okay. Also, actually, the flowers are evolved with this much color. Okay, so because they need to attract the insects. Okay, so they actually definitely the colors are attracting the butterflies. So and also the preference depends on the size of the flower or size of the flower tube.
Sir, in a closed area where there were nectar and host plants, there will be even some pests. Even though we control the plants, there will be some pests on the plants. How we can control these pests other
Yeah.
than pesticides?
Yeah. So the that depends on
Excuse
lot
me,
of
sir.
times
Sorry
you
to
will be
interrupt
having
you.
pests, something like the aphids will be there. Sometimes the some of them may be the invasive. Lot of them will be there. Okay, so that you need to control it. So how you can control is, okay. So suppose you are having a small garden in your home. If you are seeing some lot of infection, usually will be cut down that part of the plant and you'll be putting it. Okay. So that is the way we'll be doing it. Okay. So this is a very basic the principle how we'll be controlling it. So use the natural methods. Okay. Use the natural methods to control that one. So don't go for any pesticides or something. That's all.
So, and as butterflies are the cold-blooded organisms, how much sunlight do it require for a butterfly garden for a closed area?
Okay, so the actually the sunlight depends. Some butterflies needs a lot of sunlight. Some are preferred to stay in the less light area or the shady area. So generally we need a mix of both. Okay, some areas in the garden can be in the shades, and some area will be in the open. So you need a lot of sunlight. Okay, but may not be in the all the parts. Suppose you have a area where you have only less amount of sunlight, still you can go for a garden. Okay. But you select the plants according to your the habitats. So that is how we can handle it.
Okay, sir. Sir, one more last question. How the butterflies act as bioindicators or can sense the slightest alteration in an ecosystem?
Yeah. So actually, the butterflies are I mean, their life cycle is very short. Okay. So they may be in the caterpillar stage for few days. They'll be in the pupal stage for few days, and as in the adult stage, maximum 1 month or 1.5 month they'll be living. So they are having very short lifespan. So if in a particular area the plants are the dwelling very fast or the habitat is destructing very fast, the butterflies cannot survive well in that area. So because their life cycle is very short span and they cannot move out into the other areas easily because they cannot they fly that far. Some of them are meant for flying, but that far. So the number of butterflies or population of butterfly in a particular area is actually directly proportional how the biodiverse that area is. So
Sir,
that way
excuse me to interrupt. Sir, then caterpillars do affect in this closed environment?
yeah. So actually, the closed environment. Okay. So I told the closed. We are not going for the completely closed, but we are having some constrained habitat. So there we'll be having caterpillars. Okay. So if we are having host plants, there be caterpillars. So the number of caterpillars they can support it depends on how much area you have.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the informative session and acknowledgeable words. Thank you, thank you, sir. And I also thank to our curator, Dr. Nandani Saleria, IFS for conducting such a webinar session and knowledgeable session to pass on the informative information to all the students and the public. Thank you for all. Thank you joining for this webinar. A special thanks to our speaker, Sri Haneesh K.M. for joining us, even in the last moment. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. So thank you, the Indira Gandhi Zoological Park, Visakhapatnam, and all the organizers, especially Namida and Ramana. So thank you so much for the invite and uh, the it was a nice talking here. So thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir.